Thank you for clicking my video. Let's get into another guide. Muriel's passive is Divine Touch. Her basic attacks stack an invisible mark on units up to 5 times. The mark can be consumed on units by damaging them with her Q and E abilities, with each stack applying a longer root and dealing bonus damage. This passive does have a cooldown, so you can't keep rooting the same person over and over. Although the root doesn't seem very long, in the middle of battle half a second can mean life or death. Because of this, Muriel does a great job at serving her ADC kills and keeping her teammates alive. With this passive being a large part of her kit, you need to hold left click in every fight, and because of the stacks being invisible, you need to make sure you're counting how many autos you place on an enemy. The stacks are for each enemy, meaning that one person can have 3 marks and another will have 1 at the same time. Personally, I just like to put 3 before applying the root, but maxing the stacks will maximize your damage and your CC. I have been providing clips in the background to show you how the passive works exactly. As you can see, I just keep auto attacking the Chimera to apply the root. Then I just keep auto attacking them until the passive resets and I can apply even more stacks to apply yet another root. After that, he just can't run away, and I go ahead and let my Twin Blast have that kill.
An enemy has been slain.
Now in this next example we have a Bellica that's trying to flank, but the entire team is under tower, so that was just a bad move on her part. I just chase her down with some autos, apply roots, and then once again go ahead and let Twin Blast have the kill. You always want to make sure that your ADCs are getting as many kills as possible. Muriel's Q is pretty straightforward. You press Q and you hit enemies with it. This energy blast deals damage and it slows the opponent. This ability is her main tool in the early game. Use it to poke enemies anytime they are close and to slow running away targets. Q is probably her most annoying ability. Nothing is more annoying than not being able to run away or chase, and it's even more annoying when you are rooted by her passive first. Although her passive can be procced on her E, her Q is a more reliable way to root people, and the bonus damage goes well with this, since this is her most damaging ability. Here we have a Narbash and a Murdoch that are just way too extended, so naturally our jungler comes in for the juicy ganks. Only Narbash realizes that they're getting ganked, and the Murdoch decides to overstay, and he gets completely burst down. My Q procced my root there, and I accidentally stole that kill. Now in this clip, we have a Murdoch that keeps walking up to try to get minions, and every time that they walk up separately I want to go ahead and punish them, so I hit them with auto attacks. And as soon as I see that the Murdoch is too far ahead and gets slowed by my Twin Blast Q, I stack my own Q on top of his to provide an even longer slow, and then we just chase him down. Unfortunately, Twin Blast isn't able to hit that last auto attack, but I am able to keep him alive and even get them extremely low health. So they're forced to take a bad recall. Now moving on to Muriel's E. It is Consecrated Ground. She summons an energy field that applies a shield to allies inside, and after a second and a half it will explode, applying another shield and damaging enemies inside. In patch 3.0 they buffed this ability so the numbers that are shown are not accurate. The shield numbers are actually double of what is shown, and it scales with energy power, meaning the more energy damage you have, the more shields you can give. Now with this ability, it's only natural to try to just apply shields to allies all the time, but sometimes you need to use this aggressively. Remember that it still does damage and it still procs Muriel's passive, so if you need to root someone or they're under tower with 1 HP and there isn't an immediate threat, then don't hesitate to use E. During teamfights, try and use her E on the group. If done correctly, your frontline will absorb more attacks and you will do a little bit more damage to theirs. Now in this clip, we're taking Raptors We've taken a little bit of damage, and I'm using my E as much as possible to try to protect my ADC so that we can continue to do damage to them. You can see that their healths are pretty low, which allows our Countess to go ahead and clean those people up, while I follow my Twin Blast and apply E to give a root to steal and to peel him off of my Twin Blast. And after that, he continues to chase me, and I just run to my Greystone so Greystone can go ahead and finish him off for me.
An enemy has been slain.
Now in this particular clip, I'm looking out for my teammates, and I noticed that my Sevrug is overextended, so I try to keep an eye on him, and sure enough he does get ambushed by 3 people. So I try to get him to run to me, but he actually runs the wrong way, so I have to meet him on the other side. It is on this side that I'm able to put a bubble on him, give him a shield, and even protect them from that Bellica right click. Muriel's right click ability is Alacrity. This allows you to give a movement speed bonus to one of your allies. You can place it on the ground so that they can pick it up afterwards, or you can throw it right into them. Because the orb stays on the ground for 12 seconds, at max cooldowns you can actually have multiple of these lying on the ground. Muriel is technically a caster support. What this means is that she's squishy, so use your right click in teamfights to reposition yourself, and not to give allies speed boost. They most likely won't need it if you're in the middle of a team fight. Remember that you can't help anyone stay alive if you yourself are dead. This particular clip is one of my favorites because it shows the sheer amount of shields that you can provide a teammate. Here you see that the Greystone is not even close to dying, and I just used my right click to reposition myself with my E to keep him alive. There is right here where Greystone did chase Sevrog, and I did want him to turn around, so what I did is I stole his kill. Not usually something that I do, but I didn't want to turn around and my comms weren't working, so I just went ahead and snatched it from him so he would pay attention. And then the rest of the fight you can just see me using right click to get away. Once I'm at a safe distance, I use E, I use Q for damage / shields, and eventually just win this team fight. Finally, we have Muriel's ultimate, Reversal of Fortune. This is her best known ability. After pressing R, you will enter a 1.5 second channel, and after the channel, you can pick any currently alive ally and fly to them, granting them a large shield while you're flying and knocking nearby enemies up into the air after you land. This ability is by far the best thing in her kit, allowing her to be anywhere in the map at any time, meaning that you can change a 2v2 into a 3v2, giving your team an advantage. If you manage to knock people up, you give your teammates a chance to win a fight, retreat, or secure a very high priority kill, like that Countess, that is constantly killing your carries. In teamfights, I recommend staying in the back until you see one of your frontline in the middle of the chaos. This is the best time to ult because it will allow you to knock up the most people, plus your frontline can absorb even more damage for the team. For Muriel, I actually have two builds. Although there is two, you will be using Scrying Stone and Omni Potion as starting items for both. And also for both builds, at some point in the game, I usually do after my first pack, you want to get a Radiant Pulse. This will help you de-ward the enemy jungle and your own jungle so that they have less vision. For the first build, we want to take the Magician aspect and either Bishop or Clairvoyant as the second aspect. Magician allows us to keep spamming abilities with the mana regen, and every time you damage an enemy with your abilities, you get 2 seconds shaved off your ultimate. Take Bishop if you want a stronger early game, with your potions doing more and your shields buffing attack speed. On the other side, take Clairvoyant if you want a better late game, giving your wards more vision and allowing all the actives to come up faster.
An enemy has been slain.
This is what the final build would look like. As you can see, it is mostly actives. These actives are the best for keeping teammates alive for as long as possible. I almost never sell my Scrying Stone because it provides vision with its ward active and even some mana regen. Boots of Haste is necessary because of her cooldowns. You want to be able to press Q, E, and R as often as possible. Blessing of the Divine provides some sustain and quite a bit of armor, but the best part is the active, which allows you to shield all nearby allies. Providing even more CDR and sustain, Robe of Miracles is great for any game, and the active allows you to heal allies in the heat of battle. Now, Siren's Call is a must-have for Muriel since it buffs her shields, gives CDR, and even a little bit of mana regen. Traveler's Augment is a great way to round out the build. If you aren't capped in CDR, you will be with this. This item's passive goes well with Clairvoyant since it also gives cooldown reduction to actives. And speaking of which, this item's active gives all allies around you a huge speed boost. If you have bad teammates on the regular, and no matter how many actives and spells you dump, they don't stay alive anyways, then I recommend this build. It is more damage oriented, so you can get the enemy low health and give teammates less of a chance to screw up the kill. The damage also translates well into her shields. The aspects will remain the same except I removed Clairvoyant since this build doesn't use many actives. I only have 5 items listed since the final item can be anything you want it to be. I recommend using the slot for an item you need to counter their MVP. Scrying Stone is a necessary support item right now, so it needs to be in the build. Boots of Haste is for cooldowns. This may be able to be swapped with Warlock's wares, but since I haven't tried it yet, I didn't put it in here. Matter Limiter gives a big boost of energy power and gives decent health and mana. The passive from this also goes well with her E and Q, providing a devastating slow to enemies' hits. Siren's Call, as I mentioned earlier, is a necessary item for Muriel because of the stats it gives, along with the passive. Because you need to be able to run away as you'll be taking more damage, Traveler's Augment is your final item for this build, giving a little bit more damage to your abilities and giving some much needed CDR. Thank you for watching my Muriel guide. Hopefully you understand her a little better and even get an idea of what to do in a teamfight. I am trying to be a little bit more disciplined in my video making since I feel they're coming out too far apart, so I may actually start using a schedule for uploading. If you like this video, then make sure to check out my other Twin Blast guide also. Now I'm just gonna let you watch this Quang that should have died a million times over not die because of this amazing unkillable build.